Very warm welcome to Aviators TV, and today welcome to Baltimore International Airport on the northeast coast of the United States. And I think this might be the first US flight that we have done on Aviators TV. We are today, as you can see, going to be taking the Spirit Airlines A321neo all the way down the east coast from Baltimore down to Orlando as Spirit Wings Flight 3817. Got a departure time that is scheduled for around about 25 minutes. We're going to get our boarding going in a second. We'll go through the setup of the flight, we'll get ourselves taxiing and taking off. We'll then do a bit of an abridged cruise so that you don't sit through the whole of the cruise, and join us again for our descent and our landing into Orlando International Airport. So as we're getting closer to our departure time at the moment, we're pretty much cold and dark. We have just turned on the ground power, we've initialised the IRS, and we've got the batteries on. We haven't really done anything else at this stage, and we haven't used the FSLabs Neo for a little while either, so this might take a little bit of remembering, but we are fueled, but we are going to go and request our boarding, and we are going to get our seatbelt signs to on. While we wait for that, we will go and start, I can't remember any of my keybinds, we will go and start having a look at some of the setup of our aircraft. We'll do the FMC first. We've already got some of our data loaded into the FMC, as you can see. Heading down from Baltimore to Orlando today, we're going to be at 36,000 feet. We've got a flight time of just under 2 hours once we're airborne, predicted about 2.5 hours once we include taxiing at each end of the flight. While we wait for the winds to come through, we better go and sort that. We won't board the crew. I'll go and have a watch of our baggage getting loaded. We're going to be seeking to follow the real-world flight today, which is due off on time from Baltimore at 16:20 local time, which is 21:20 or 20:20 Zulu for me here in the UK. And as you can see, we've got absolutely glorious conditions. It's about 16 degrees and sunny up in Baltimore at the moment, and heading down to Florida where it's around about 25 degrees and sunny, so definitely not the same conditions we're having in London. Let's have a look. We still don't have our winds loaded in at the moment. There we go. That took a lot longer than I expected. There's our winds loaded in. Check that they have loaded all the way through. And then in that case we can go and have a look at our flight plan. And I will say this will be my first full flight in the United States, if we do manage to see this one through in full. So we are departing from runway 28, and we are going to be on the Conley 5 departure with the Scoob transition. Conley 5 and the Scoob transition. Let me pop that in. We shouldn't need that twice, so let's get that taken out. I'll delete the discontinuity. That's all looking good. And we'll have a look at the arrival later, but we're expecting the Seinfeld, I think it's the Seinfeld 3 arrival into Orlando, arriving probably on runway 36 right. We'll have a look over, it'd be 36 right or 35 right. We do have tower and approach online in Orlando at the moment. May not have them by the time we get down there. So we are still doing our boarding, so we won't just yet go do the remaining bits. We will have a look at the company message that we've got, which I think is in our AOC menu. It's just our slot notification, so that's all fine. We've got an estimated off block time 2033, slightly later than we're aiming for, so hopefully we'll be able to get going quicker than that. Double check our fuel. Fuel all looks fine. This is where I remember that I really do have forgotten some of the flows in this. I think for the moment, let's just have a quick look. External controls, that all looks fine. Fuel is good. Payload shows us at the moment we don't have our cargo in at the moment. Let's go back there. Okay, so I think what we'll do next is come. Shall we see if we can get the. Oh, blimey, have we boarded already? Well, that was quick. Okay, so in that case, we'll go and start doing some of our calculations. So we are departing from runway 28 at Baltimore. We're not going to have anti-ice. We'll leave the packs on. We'll have flaps 1 departure. Hello. Come on. Okay. You don't seem to like moving, so we'll do it that way. What are we missing? There's something it doesn't like. There we go. That's our takeoff. We can have a look at mass and balance. Okay, doesn't seem to have loaded quite as much as we were expecting. And that's especially doesn't seem to have loaded cargo for some reason. In particular, well, that planned gross weight doesn't look right. That's just the fuel. Interesting. Okay. So I thought I remembered that you could then send this, but maybe I'm wrong, over to the FMC. But it doesn't look like we can. So let's go and start popping this in. So we'll go to our init B. Is that pre-saved? Yes, it is. So we can pop those in. So you can see 1 hour 49, or 1 hour 50 planned flight time. And we will now go into our performance page. So we are 1 up and a flex of 65. Oops. So it's 1/up 0.0. That's how we do it. And then our V speeds are going to be 161, 161, and 163. Okay, perfect. So we have got around about 15 minutes until planned departure. So thank you to everybody for boarding nice and quickly. Next things we can have a look at. Let's have a quick look at what the departure looks like. We'll bring the chart up our navigraph so that we can all see that. So this is our planned departure routing. I'll make a tiny bit bigger for us. So we are pulling out on runway 28, so that is going to be a left-hand turn at 285 degrees, and sorry, straight out at 285 degrees, and we make a left-hand turn, saying direct to Bosley, climb heading 285, then direct Bosley to cross at or above 700. Okay, so Bosley's that first point. Cross at or above 700 and 230 knots, then a left turn direct to Suggs, which we are at or below 7,000. So we've got an initial altitude at 7,000 that we'll set. And crossing stable at or below 13,000. Hang on a minute. Oh, and then we're at or above 11,000 at O's. But not above 14,000 before we get to Conley. Top altitude is 14,000. Once we pass Conley, we can start climbing up towards our cruise at 36,000. That takes us down to our initial point of Scoob. If we have a look at that in our plan mode on our aircraft, so we can see that's loaded in pretty nicely. So there's our initial routing out to Bosley above 700 and 230 knots, and intersecting down through Suggs, stable. We'll just have a quick check of the rest of the route, make sure that it all looks sensible. That was our top of climb. No idea how you say some of these, but I'm pretty sure I know that's bummer. And that takes us down into Leopard. Okay, so flight plan looks good. Get that back into arc mode. Go, oh, that's not where I was expecting to be. Where's my central console view? Do I not have one on this? Okay. We'll just spin round then. So we're setting this initially to 7,000. I'll just check we've got our barrow right. And then we are not in controlled airspace at the moment, I don't believe. So Boston, Indianapolis, Jacksonville and Toronto are on. So we've been given a squawk of 5653, which we can go and set. And we need to be on CTAF frequency, which I believe is 118.4 for Baltimore. So we'll pop across to that. And we will set our squawk as 5653. And we may as well go about starting getting that switched on now. Okay, so that makes us pretty much ready to go. We've still got around about 12 minutes until we're expecting to push back. We got ourselves boarded a little bit quicker than we expected. So we'll go have a quick look outside. I will pause the video for now. We'll rejoin us as we are just getting ready to push back from stand in about 10 minutes or so. Okay, welcome back, and we have just seen our aircraft starting to push back at Baltimore in the real world, so we are going to go ahead now and request our pushback as well. Just do a quick walk around to double check we haven't got any doors open or anything else. No, we are all looking good. We've disconnected while you were away the chocks, we've disconnected the ground power unit, we've got our APU all set up. I have to say the Airbus has generally been the thing I fly the most, but having spent a little bit of time in the iFly 737 MAX over the last few weeks, it's taken a tiny bit of time to get back used to it. It sort of feels like you should be doing more with the Airbus, especially the FSLabs, where everything kind of in the FMC is also set up for you, so I keep feeling like I must have missed something. We've had a look. That same radar, there's nobody else in and around Baltimore at the moment, so we won't need to make any transmissions up on CTAF for now. Looks like our aircraft slightly ahead of us in terms of pushing back, but they're likely to be in a bit of a queue when they get to the threshold of 2.8, so that'll give us a little bit of time to catch them up and hopefully take off at around about the same time that they do. This feels like it's taking an awfully long time. That's why. Right, we want to go nose right.
Captain crew, please arm your doors for departure, thank you.
Okay, let's check our PA is on. Our PA is on. We will go and start. Go with engine number 2.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to your flight today. My name is Norman. It's my pleasure to introduce the rest of the crew today. Working with the front, we have Tim. In the center, very shortly is Carl, and up the rear, we have John. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for your comfort, but primarily for your safety. With that in mind, please, we do ask for the 2 minutes of your time whilst we take you through the safety procedures of this aircraft. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now ask for your attention while we take you through the safety procedures on this aircraft. A safety card is in your seat pocket showing the exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets and brace position that you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 2 emergency exits at the rear, 4 in the middle, and 2 at the front of the cabin. Floor lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you.
Okay, well, to get set up, let's go to flaps number 1.
Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and
We'll
released
get
as shown.
engine number 1 starting.
It must be fastened when the seatbelt signs are
I
on.
think it's in
We
reverse.
recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and
Whilst
mouth.
that's going, we'll go and get...
Hold in place with the strap. Pull on each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water, take the life jacket from under your seat. Put it over your head. Pass the tapes around your waist. Click together and pull the strap to adjust. Do not inflate it inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into the tube. There is a light and whistle for attracting attention. We also carry flotation aids for children. Your tray table must now be stowed, armrest down, window blinds open, and seatbelt fastened. We wish you a pleasant flight.
Okay, we'll go and tell GSX that we've had a good start. Whilst that's doing that, we'll go and pop our taxi lights on. And we Good. Let's just check. Yep, we can go. We can get APU off as well. We'll do a quick run through on the overhead panel where it looks like everything is correctly off at the moment. Our packs have kicked in. Now I think we need also to remove the nose wheel steering pin. We need to go and get our set to system 1, our predictive wind shear on. We can get ourselves back into normal mode. That should get us pretty much ready to go. Now, the bit I always struggle with here, we'll double check if that works. If not, I can never quite remember the right way to set the FSLabs up. But we should be about ready to get going. So, our aircraft, we are going to taxi. I'll have a quick look on OBS at our taxi route. So we're going to taxi straight ahead out. We're going to take a second right onto uniform and then, onto Tango, and then follow uniform down to the threshold of runway 28. Or at least that's the plan. So, we're going to parking brake into off, and let's get going. I always forget the FSLab always seems to need a bit of a welly to get it to start taxiing. So I'll do a flight control check, full left, full right, down and up. Just check. Our ground handling does seem okay, so I don't think we need to disconnect. I'm going to have to recalibrate that throttle, I think, if it thinks it's going into reverse.
Cabin crew seats for departure, please.
So we're going to take a right here. This is the default Baltimore scenery, for anybody wondering. We're going to take a right here onto Tango. And then I think we're immediately left onto uniform. Yep. Turned a little bit early there. And we can follow uniform all the way down to threshold of runway 28. While we do that, we'll go do a quick takeoff config check. As we come around this corner, let's give ourselves a bit more acceleration. Right, having said I thought our real life counterpart would have a queue at the threshold. They've actually just gone and taken straight off, so we're going to do our best to go and catch them up. That was a little bit hard on the brake. Okay, we'll put the parking brake on there. Just head up, to our overhead. We'll go and get our strobes on, wing lights on, nav lights onto 1, takeoff lights, landing lights, runway turn off lights, all set to on. Everything on the overhead is looking good. We can check left is clear, right is clear. I think we can go ahead and get ourselves lined up. We'll set the chrono while we're lining up. I've been blessed by the iFly, but the FSLabs does not sound quiet in the cabin. We'll go up to 50%. Oh, we didn't set the pitch trim. Ah, okay. Oh, we're gonna have to not do that. Let's get ourselves lined up again. Knew I'd forgotten something. That's positive. That's V1 rotate. Made it up okay. Positive rate gear up. That was a dreadful thing to forget. Back into the climb. We'll go flaps in.
Please keep your seatbelt fastened while the seatbelt sign is on. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located
We'll
at each end.
engage the autopilot.
Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes. In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight. Need further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
So we'll go and check quickly onto Navigraph, just remind ourselves of the restrictions. So we can't exceed 7,000 feet before SUGS, so we're going about to get altitude constrained. Once we level off, we'll go and have a quick look at the scenery, which is looking absolutely glorious. As I say, first time flying in America, which is still absolutely no excuse for forgetting to do the pitch trim. I don't actually know whether I think it would be a good idea to try and retrospectively do it now. It's put itself up anyway, so we will let it auto trim. That is looking stunning. Have a quick look back. You can see the airport back there. So as we approach Suggs, we'll get ourselves set up to pop our VNav in. It'll take us up to 13,000 once we cross. And crossing Suggs now, we should feel it kick in. There we go, taking us up to 13,000. Just a reminder from here, so we're not above 13,000 through to stable, and then not above 14,000 to Conley, and then we are able to complete our climb. See it going through 10,000 feet and starting to accelerate. So through 10,000 we can go switch off our landing lights. One of my landing lights is in op. Oh dear. Can I assume that didn't mean I couldn't use it? I'll put the strobes down to auto. So I think we were able to climb up now to 14,000, a whole 1,000 higher. So we'll get ourselves up to that. We'll zoom out the range so we can see a bit more of where we're heading. As I say, as we get ourselves up to our cruising altitude, we will we'll skip through some of the flight so that we just pick up at a few different points rather than showing the whole of the cruise in the video. Based on what we've got online at the moment, hopefully we'll still have some control. Oh, unfortunately, our area control down in Florida has gone offline, so we'll see if we get some control come on later. If not, we'll just touch in maybe as we're passing over kind of South Carolina, somewhere around there. Um, we'll show the rest of the departure as we get up to our cruise and as we run along the coast, and then, as I say, maybe as we cross over the out of South Carolina and back across the coast again, we'll then check in again, and then we'll pick up the descent down into Orlando. Fingers crossed, they've still got tower, ground and delivery online at Orlando at the moment, so fingers crossed some of those stay on even if we don't have area control or approach anymore. So crossing Conley, we can go and finally get ourselves routing up to our cruise, which today is flight level 360, and we'll pop ourselves into standard pressure. Oh, my ground spoilers are still armed. Oops. Wow, this really hasn't been a successful takeoff. So as we're pretty much passing through 20,000, got it wrong again, 20,000 feet, we'll get the seatbelt signs over to off. I'll let you watch just a little bit more of the cruise and then we'll pop a pause on the video and join us again when we are making our way through the cruise. We'll touch in once or twice and then for our descent down into Florida. Howdy, and welcome back to the flight deck. We have just crossed over the border into South Carolina. We did say that we would check in now. Slightly unfortunately, we just missed the control, which has come on as we crossed over the border in, I think it's Washington Center. So we are still sitting on Unicom as we cross into South Carolina. Orlando still has tower and ground online, but at the moment not looking like we're going to get any other control as part of our flight down today. And have a quick check on Navigraph to see how we're progressing, and then after we've done that we'll go and have a quick look at the arrival into Orlando and get that programmed into the FMC. So as you can see, we're about halfway through our route today down from Baltimore to Orlando, running along the coast, as I say, just crossed over into
Ladies and
South
gentlemen,
Carolina.
take full advantage of your tax-free allowances today and make some amazing savings with our boutique range. In your in-flight brochure, you'll find details of our award-winning selection of gifts, most with massive discounts. Make the most of your opportunity to shop and save from the comfort of your seat. If you'd like to see any products, have any questions, or would like to make great savings, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Now, thanks for that announcement. Let's have a quick look at our arrival. We're expecting the Seinfeld free arrival down into Orlando today. We picked that up at Leopard. We need to be between flight level 340 and 300, then stay above flight level 230 through Newman, 13,000 for you, 12,000 at Nick, and we have a constraint, we have to still be above 12,000 at Get Out and below 16,000. Continues our descent down through Higgs, Voss, Sunday and Cubal. Cubal will be down 5,000 feet and 210 knots in order to make our turn onto the approach for Orlando. We're planning for the ILS onto 35 right today. You can see that's got a heading of 005 degrees that we will intercept it at. And we pretty much straight in. We're going to look to intercept at Serre, so we need to be 4,000 feet at Serre in order to intercept. So we can now go and program that into our FMC. Should we first of all just have a quick look outside, see how we're tracking? We're flying pretty much directly into the sun, but as you can see, lovely little flight along the eastern coast of America. Have a quick look back behind us. It's very hazy in the middle of the day at the moment. So we'll pop in and we'll start to program in every time I get that wrong our arrival for today. So we're going to plan for a 35 right arrival. Our arrival is Seinfeld free arrival. Pretty sure we were the Leopard transition. And then we also need to add, no, we don't need to add a via. Insert that. Let's see what that gives us. So, takes us Leopard. That's saying we're at 360 still. We have to be. Okay, so we need to be. Right, it has picked up the altitude constraint, so I assume it's going to fix that in a minute. So that takes us down Seinfeld, Get Out, Higgs, Sunday, Cubal, and then it's just giving us a manual to Fesha. Fesha, we have to be at 3,000 feet, which is almost what it's programmed, 2990. So it's sending us directly into there. Didn't look like it gave us an alternative, so I mean we can pretty much manually vector ourselves anyway, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. We will need to make sure that it has picked up our constraint at Leopard though. Which it does know about. Again, we can can make sure that we hit that anyway. I'm cruising along at the moment, see we're doing a ground speed of 430 knots, just having a quick check of our real life counterpart flight, making sure that's about the right thing for us. Yeah, they're doing a 436 knots, so we're tracking pretty well along with them. They're just approaching Charleston alongside Mount Pleasant at the moment. We're not very far off that either. Just having a look down there. We're, in fact, almost tracking exactly alongside them, so we've done that pretty perfectly. So I'll leave you just to watch a little bit of the cruise as we're heading over, and we'll pause it and we'll join you again, either if we get some control en route or if not, as we begin our descent down into Orlando. welcome back into the cockpit. As you can see, we are just approaching Leopard and we are going to start setting ourselves up for our descent now. We're going to wind ourselves down to flight level 230, which is the lowest that we can be at the next waypoint after Leopard. The next waypoint after Leopard is Newman. So we're going to begin, I think we're slightly ahead of our planned descent path, so we'll begin a gradual descent down. You might be able to hear, just lightly. You might be able to hear just lightly in the background that we've set up some ATC, that is Orlando approach plane. We're going to try and just pick up our actual Spirit wings coming in just to double check that we are going to be on 3-5 right. They are using 3-5 right and 3-6 right at the moment over at Orlando. So we'll set ourselves up. We can follow pretty much either of them, it's not going to make a big difference to us, but at the moment we're geared up to go in on 3-5 right. We're going to have a quick look at how we're doing outside. We are right over the water. You can see it's starting to cloud up a little bit as we've headed down into Orlando, or towards Florida I should say. We're just flying nicely along the coastline. As a reminder of our approach, we follow a pretty straight line all the way down down towards Orlando. We fly just down the east side of Orlando Airport and make a pretty much 180-degree turn in order to come in and establish ourselves. 3-5 right is the runway we are expecting to use today. We do have a tower on at Orlando still at the moment, whether they'll stay on I'm not sure. 3-5 right, quite a long way removed from the main airport, so we're going to have quite a long backtrack in order to get over to our terminal, if that is where we do come in. We're going to try and keep an eye and work out for the real aircraft where it does establish. If we end up on 3-6 right, if we have time to change it, then we'll look at doing that. But for now we're going to plan a 3-5 right arrival, and we will taxi in either way. I was out in Orlando around about a year ago, and actually staying in a hotel. Looked right over the 3-5 right arrivals, so I quite fancy the idea of going in on 3-5 right anyway, and also had them flying right overhead when they were coming in from just a short walk down along the lakes. So it would be nice to do something that I've seen so many landing on. I'm conscious a lot of the Spirits do land on 3-6 right. It's probably more common for Spirit 3-5 right more often than some of the other bits, but given this one has come straight down the east coast, there is a fair chance. Just listening to approach, a lot of those coming in on the Seinfeld free arrival are landing 3-5 right, so we'll stick with it. One of the things I have noticed with the FSLabs is if you come off of the VNAV and then look to go back to it, it doesn't always pick it up perfectly. So I'm just going to keep a bit of an eye on here and what it says it thinks it should be doing. So it's saying it'll be a 272 at Newman is what it's aiming for. So we will just make sure that we are tracking and that we do see it hitting that point. You can see now that we're above the VNAV path because we're descending down at 1,000 feet per minute, which is sign in the Airbus that you have descended slightly earlier than you needed to per its path that it had plotted. course, the other fascinating thing listening to ATC for Orlando is that pretty much all of the arrivals are a visual approach, which is something we don't really hear over in the UK too often. We're going to cheat, we're going to use the ILS for this one. A visual approach, very much not my strong point, it would be fair to say. Now we're about to cross over the coastline, so we're back heading overland very shortly. It looks like it's clouding up a little bit just off the Orlando coast. Have a quick look. Based on VATSIM radar, whereabouts we are. We're not far south of Jacksonville. Navigraph might give me a better answer actually as to where we are. Let's have a look. So yeah, not a million miles away from Jacksonville, approaching an airport. Oh, we're approaching Northeast Florida Regional and St. Augustine. We're going to come in, we're going to go almost just over Daytona Beach, and then largely straight down to head into Florida. Unfortunately, Orlando Tower has just gone offline, which I had a feeling might be the case because they'd been online for a good nearly 4 hours now. So a bit of a shame we're not going to get any ATC for our first flight over in America, but nice to get a bit of practice in doing the different approaches, making sure we know how to set them up in the FMC. So we will have better luck next time that we're over there. So we're following our VNAV path pretty nicely. We're expecting a flight of 255 at Newman, which we're going to hit. So our next constraint is we have to be above 13,000. So we'll wind ourselves down to 13,000 so that we keep tracking down. Looking at the weather for Orlando, it looks like we've got a fairly strong crosswind. I'm just double checking it's Miami Center that's online. I guess we're not going far enough south to encounter them. So current winds in Orlando are, let me just find those, I did pop them in. I have to go back into the FMC because I took them from VATSIM radar. So winds in Orlando at the moment are 120 degrees at 10, and we're going to be landing on runway 35. So fair old crosswind, in fact almost a headwind that we'll be flying into. So it'll be an interesting landing. I actually just double checked and they are definitely still landing from the south. I have to say, first time flying in America, I shouldn't be surprised that the scenery is looking absolutely glorious, but the photogrammetry has looked glorious throughout this flight. The departure from Baltimore just looked lovely. We're starting to see it coming down into Florida now. How wonderful the photogrammetry looks. Clouds looking fantastic as well. I might snap a screenshot of that, in fact. We're just about hitting the VNAV path now, so you can see our rate of descent has picked up as we're picking up the path that had been in the FMC. As we're about to cross, is it 4U, we're a fair way above 13, so we have to be between 16,000 and 12,000 at, is it get out, I think, where we have to be, so we'll set ourselves down to 12,000 for now. Flight level 200 we'll go. Finally got the right one of the two. Going to get our seatbelt signs on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside. Your tray table must be stowed, armrest down, and window blind open. You now need to be seated with your seatbelt fastened, ready for landing. Please help us by handing in any rubbish, newspapers, or magazines that you do not want to take with you. The toilets are no longer in service.
I'm pretty sure that's an EasyJet announcement, right? Come out of standard pressure with 3002. Just double check that. See. Oh, that's because we're. Come on. I'm pretty sure we're 3002. I'm going to put that back. So as we head down towards get out, we have to be at 280 knots or below, which is fine at get out. Next constraint is Higgs, which is between 12,000 and 10,000 at 250 knots. Okay, I've just reset the barrier, so we're at 3004 now. That's rather glorious with the sun setting. Okay, we're going to send ourselves down to 10,000. After we've crossed Higgs, our next constraint is above 8,000. But actually, we can probably send ourselves down to the 5,000 feet at Q-bar. I'm guessing that's Q-ball, in fairness. What are we doing down there? There's a few bits we can start thinking about in a minute in terms of getting the aircraft set up for landing. I can't remember what we look. Is there there are checklists. Maybe we should use a checklist given how badly we forgot some of our previous bits. I'm not actually sure. No, yeah, trim was on there. Okay. We have a landing checklist, but not. Okay. Not a descent checklist. There's a few bits we could do now to start getting ourselves set up. We could arm our spoilers. We could probably put low auto brake on. cross that, so we said we'd set ourselves down to 5,000 feet now. Our next actual constraint is we can't be below 8,000 at VOS, and we need to be at 230 knots, which we're actually already hitting, even though we're at 250 at the previous waypoint. Our aircraft we're following is probably pretty much just passing over cue ball at the moment, heading down to be sequenced in. It looks like he's probably going to follow in. It's another Spirit wings. He looks like he might just cut in to get in front of. It does look like he's going to be on 3-5 right at the moment. There's a Delta turning in at the same point from his left. I wonder if I can get that up to show you. So there we go. So there's our aircraft that we're following, just making the turn at the moment. As I say, you can see there's a 7.5 off to the west of him, so my guess is that's going to be a 3.5 right turn that he's making. So we'll continue on the assumption of a 3.5 right landing for now. That's taken us down over VOS. We've passed through 10,000 feet, so we're going to go and get our landing lights on. Oh, blimey. Power station with its chimneys going down there. Didn't know we had that in MSFS. Constraints, we keep ticking through them. We've got to be above 6,000 feet at Sunday. And our final constraint is going to be, must be level at 5,000 feet and doing 210 knots at cue ball. That's when we can start thinking about making our turn to establish. We need to be established at 3,000 feet at Vster. So we'll give ourselves a little bit of time to sequence on. Just checked, and yep, it is 3.5 right that we want to be landing on today. So pop our ILS on, we'll just check that that is set up with the correct frequency, which is 111.15, which matches our approach chart. That's got us pretty much down to 5,000 feet now, so I'm going to intervene on the speed and set it to 210 for now, so that we cross at the right speed.
Ladies
So
and
pop us into
gentlemen,
heading
normal
mode.
procedures in the hours of darkness to dim the cabin lights. You'll find a reading light in the panel above your head, should you wish.
Okay. I've already it's popped us into approach mode anyway. Our announcements clearly don't know that we're in the US, and therefore it's not dark. And as we start to press cue ball, we can now get ourselves going down to 3,000 feet. Sure that it is going to drop in and start descending, so let's just do it in open descent if it's not going to go down. And we can probably at that point drop our flaps down to 1. Start bringing the speed down as well. Speed down to 180. It's going to slow down our descent a little bit. We'll start making the turn in a second. Give us enough time to start making our turn. Just do a quick check. Our missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet. To make that slightly shallower. We'll go flaps 2. Let's go on our approach mode. We're going to pop ourselves onto the Orlando CTAF frequency. Double check we don't have anybody around us. No, we're all good. There we go, that's glide slope and localizer armed. Maintain speed. Start dropping the speed down to 160.
2,500.
Can feel already we've got quite a crosswind coming in here.
2000.
So 7 miles out, start dropping the gear. Flaps to 3, flaps to full. Start bringing the speed down.
1000.
Letting the autopilot do it just to see how it does, really. At that point, I'll take the aircraft.
$400. 300. 300. 100 above.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Yep,
Sync rate.
yeah.
Minimum 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. Retard.
Oh, we're really floating it.
Retard.
I have retarded.
Retard. Retard. Retard.
Auto brake off. Auto brake off.
Retard.
Wow, not very smoothly, but we have made it into. Oh, let's just get ourselves off. So let's get our flaps retracted. Disarm our spoilers.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you
Just
remain
double-check
seated
where it is
until
we
the
need to go
fasten
here.
seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat and in the overhead lockers. Do take care when opening the lockers in case anything falls out. Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area. On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you complete your journey.
Okay, let's head up to our overhead. Okay. Taxi lights. Let's try and just get the APU started quickly. I'm gonna head over the bridge here. No, that was way too much brake. It's a bit bumpy. Just waiting to see exactly where we're going to park. I'm assuming Orlando is not really this hilly. That brake on the FSLabs doesn't half go hard. Left is clear, across the runway. Why it insists on thinking that's reverse. Taken off. Right, make right here. APU will lead on. I think this is an enhanced modelled airport that comes with the Premium Deluxe version, so we should have gates properly modelled on here. I still can't quite yet tell exactly where we're going to park. Another one departing. If you picked a gate yet, Spirit Wings, looks like you're going on 21, 27. Okay, you've lost. Let's just slow ourselves down a bit. Can hear us motoring over this bridge. We might might need it if we've got to go up that bigger hill, but let's just go set services. Come on. We want a gate. Please don't make me start again. Gate. Next page. Next. Why have you done? Thank you. We'll go gate 25. Oh blimey, this is going to be interesting. That's quite a downhill. Whee! Ironically, the one time this thing hasn't accelerated. It's going to make it up the hill fine, is it? Okay. Oh lordy. I think we're turning on to the terminal here. To get to Juliet. 25. Oh, it's not saved it. Let's just stop here for a moment and get this set up. So we want 25. No, I don't want to follow me. I don't want West Indies Airways. I don't know what GCG is, but we'll go with that. Right, now we can go and get ourselves round to stand 25. Which I think is that's not super helpful, but I think we take, let's give this a little bit more welly. I think this is Juliet 2, and then I think we make another left onto Charlie 1. Oh, the car's going by on the highway. That looks cool. Just check, I think we're still going, yeah, around the outside here. I'm going to regret having done that. Right, 25 is kind of as we turn round the corner. Doesn't look like there's markings to tell me which one is which. Oh, there are. There. Up there. it's not very easy to see which one. So we're at 27, so we're going round the corner still. To do something about the throttle calibration on this. My choices are either fly along or be stuck, neither of which are helpful. Too far. Okay, well, that's not a very good parking job, but that'll have to do. Let's just double check. I think our APU is all set up, so we should be able to kill the engines. We'll go and request the GPU.
Captain Crew, thank you very much for your hard work today. Your doors are clear to open.
We'll come over to GSX. We'll request deboarding. We'll go and get our seatbelt signs off. Do we have a jetway? We do have a jetway. Looks like we are going to do it with a bus though. Should we see if we can go and get the jetway to connect as well? So let's operate the jetway. Bam, it's not going to let us do it. Alright, well it looks like we're going to be deboarding with the stairs then. We get... Okay, well thank you ever so much for joining us for this flight down into Orlando. First flight into America that we've done. Hope you enjoyed the journey. Definitely wasn't the smoothest or the best, but we managed to get our Neo safely into Orlando. I'll leave just a little bit of the deboarding for you to watch. Hopefully you'll join us again soon with Aviators TV.